The Combustion of Emotional Turmoil, Igniting the Flare Within by Nanda Klein. I could smell the fresh scent of laundry detergent on the pillowcase. Lavender, perhaps. It did not matter. As I sensed the soft warmth on my face, accompanied by a slight humidity, I was conscious it was nothing but an echo of my breath exhaled onto the pillow pressed against my face. I was used to the sensation. It was challenging to breathe, but despite being aware I could barely suck air in, I did not need to. I used both hands to squeeze the pillow, hugging it as if a present, supportive friend were pressed against my chest. Then, covered my face to suffocate the sound of my sobbing. The time silently staring into the darkness as tears rushed down my temples was up. I could no longer hold the pain in. It was time to release my turmoil into the world. From that point on, all I needed was to let my breath out, cry uncontrollably, and allow the tears carrying sorrow and uncertainty to flow, just as the rushing current of a river unmercifully drags branches falling from trees until the calm after the storm finally arrives. Just as rivers return to their stillness after the storm, when my tears ceased, I numbly returned to staring at the dark ceiling until I fell asleep, not worrying about what the next day would bring. In the safety of my room, I cried myself to sleep quite often as I waited for my father's agonizing battle with cancer to end. However, I never looked forward to losing him. What meant resting in peace to him panicked me. I was petrified by the idea of my father's death. At 19, I did not know what life without a parent was like. My mother, my worst enemy at the time, did not help. I was not looking forward to watching my safe port go adrift and almost living like an orphan. Crying in the shower was another option. My problem was hiding my forehead and cheeks spotted red and white from anyone walking by as I rushed to my bedroom, 3 steps from the bathroom door. The worst thing that could happen was for my mom to see me hurting for my dad. It would be a victory for someone who was already declaring herself as a widow around town. My mom was ready to start cashing my dad's military pension, and she did not hide it. She was in such a hurry that she began the process of legally taking charge of my father's finances, although they were divorced. While not an option, crying in public was unavoidable at times. While I rode the train, heading to work in the morning or class in the evening, at the office, or in the hallways of college between classes. It all depended on which part of the day reality hit, triggered my thoughts, and how capable I was of swallowing my tears at the moment. If I was having a good day, I could stop after a few tears. Smiling at people who greeted me also helped. It was almost as if my brain believed the expression was genuine. After arriving for class one evening and walking around Redondo, where the administrative center of Unicinos University was located, along with the cafeteria, bank branches, a few classrooms, and the library where I often took refuge to stare at the trees in silence as I gave up attempting to focus, something inexplicable happened. I strolled toward the library entrance while carrying a few books and notebooks in my black tote bag, embroidered with business administration in white. With the other hand, I hugged the handbag hanging from my shoulder with a tight grip, my security blanket. As I slowly moved forward, looking down and avoiding eye contact with any passerby, for the most part, I sensed weakness in my body and soul. I kept looking at the square gray pavers under my heels, clacking against them, and felt sorry for myself. I pondered whether other passerby noticed my intent to hide my face, red from crying. I wondered whether my blotchy face passed as just being affected by the weather. I knew it did not. I began to feel closer to the ground, as if it was finally time to give in. My knees felt wobbly, and when the first one began to bend, a voice inside my head so strongly brought my knee back into place told me with authority, "Your life, it's bigger than your problems." My head rose abruptly, as if someone had gently pulled my long black hair. I looked around in search of that voice. Where did it come from? I'm not crazy. Not just yet. My eyes darted to the center of the field of vibrant green grass with a few empty benches dotting it. The sun, preparing to set, seemed to reach out to me as one extends their hands at a loved one's departure. Look around. Look at everything I have built for you. Your life is bigger than your problems. My father passed away a few months later, on a dark Tuesday evening. I was in class, facing that same field from a different angle. 15 minutes after the class began, I suddenly decided to pack my belongings. I apologized to my professor, who followed me with his eyes as I walked across the room, and simply told him with a weak voice but false confidence that I had to go. When I arrived home and called my dad's girlfriend, I could hear the desperation in her crying voice. "He's dying now," she said in between sobs. I could visualize her staring at him as he ran out of breath. I never stopped to wonder why she answered the phone. Maybe she needed someone to share her pain with. Someone who deserved to know what was going on. Perhaps she wanted my dad to know I was calling and aware of what was going on with him right at that moment. At certain times in life, we either stand or fall. The evening, I almost fell walking around Redondo. The weakness of my soul was so great, my body almost lost its strength. I realized that sometimes, no matter how tough life is or how challenging the circumstances, it is critical that all the built up pain, sorrow, and sad or negative feelings inside are used to ignite a desire to fight back and use all the power we have within to keep moving forward. That evening, as I observed the sun, I noticed that even with all its power and majesty, it still set, only to rise again. To ignite the flare of life running out of oxygen within me, I had to combust those feelings and turn them into something positive, or at least something that would pull me out of that hole. That flame came in the shape of hope. Hope for better days. Hope that my problems were just a part of life and that my life was more extensive than any challenges I faced. To survive, I had to use all the pain, fear, confusion, anger, and bitterness I felt to create rather than destroy me. As I locked eyes with the sun, I promised myself I would always look up. I would not allow myself to get so close to the ground again. I knew that the lower I allowed myself to get, the harder it will be to get back up again. I had a life ahead of me, with or without my dad, and it was my duty to fight for myself and honor him. From that moment on, I stopped perceiving myself as a victim of life. I was a warrior, armored with the strength I had to build up, ready to fight back against anything life threw in my direction. I was ready to reach my hopes and dreams and never let that flame inside lose its strength. As I walked through life, I started dodging its bullets fiercely. I resolved to grow even stronger when life's problems came at me. I was no longer afraid. I took the rest of the week to mourn my father's passing. I decided I would be ready to move forward on Monday, regardless of all my pain. I could get through anything if I got through all that. Almost 3 years after my father passed away, my friends and family gathered to celebrate my graduation, earning a bachelor's in business administration. It was January 13th, my dad's birthday. The following month, I was on an airplane for my first overseas flight to the United States to chase after my dreams, no matter how scary the pursuit seemed. 15 years later, I am a Miami resident, graduate student, business owner, mother, wife, and an individual who appreciates life and every single opportunity to wake up and enjoy the simple things until the sun sets again. Witnessing my father fighting to live despite his physical and emotional pain taught me that we never know what tomorrow brings, and all we have guaranteed is right now. I know that wherever my father is, he's very proud of the person I have become. When the pain feels too difficult to bear, use that energy to build and ignite your passion for living and fighting back. Every day is a new chance to get one step closer to your dreams. Do not let any pain or fear take that spark away from you. Above all, fight for yourself. Have hope. I lived it. It was worth trying. Thank you.